Hello, Star Wars fans. Boy, is there a lot for us to celebrate today. We got the Ahsoka trailer release, which I'll be talking about. We had 3 movie announcements at Star Wars Celebration, which I'll also cover. And of course, we had Mandalorian Episode 6 to go over. And by the way, I apologize, I didn't do a video on Mandalorian Episode 5. That was not intentional. I just ran out of time. There was so much going on. All these trailers, it's been crazy. But anyway, so much to talk about. So let's dive right in and see what we can find out. All right, so first I'm going to talk about the Mandalorian Episode 6 mostly, but a little bit from 5 reaction. And I love the ending, loved having Bo holding the Darksaber, but that's the end of the episode. So let's not jump ahead. We need to cover some of the things that led up to it, starting with those cameo appearances. I adore Jack Black. Let me be clear. I absolutely adore him. But he was basically playing Jack Black. So it was very hard to not think of, his other roles, right? I mean, he's crazy, he's goofy, he's silly, and that's why we love him. But I don't know if it worked. I probably would not have used him in this role. It kind of took me out of the Star Wars mood. Then you have Lizzo on top of that. And I'll be honest, I don't know Lizzo as well, and I didn't honestly recognize her at first, but I knew it was a cameo appearance, as I could just tell. So, to have 2 of them together, it probably was a little too much. Although I did think it was kind of funny. She was wearing this flamboyant clothing, right? Well, that works because she seems to wear a lot of flamboyant clothing. So rock on. You be you. I love it. You be you. But yeah, I think together, their combo of a cameo appearance, it just didn't work. It took me out of the mood, and I enjoyed it nonetheless, but I didn't feel like I was watching Star Wars. It was kind of like a sketch, an SNL sketch. However, I did not mind Christopher Lloyd's cameo. I thought he was great. Yes, it was hard to not think of some of his other roles, the most famous being Doc Brown in Back to the Future, but he was playing a different character. He wasn't playing himself. He wasn't playing Reverend Jim from Taxi or Doc Brown from Back to the Future. He was playing his role, and I thought he was great. He was perfect. Wouldn't have changed a thing. Loved his cameo, and I would have nixed the other 2. And by the way, this dude has a strange aging process. Okay, on the left, in Mandalorian, he's in his 80s, I think around 84. On the right, therefore, that means in Back to the Future, he was only in his 40s? What did he do in his childhood, man? What did he do to himself? That's just craziness. Wild. Anyway, absolutely love and adore Christopher Lloyd. That'd be great if he comes back. I almost left the door open that we could meet him again. All right, anyway. What I do enjoy, I may not have liked the Jack Black and the Lizzo, but I do enjoy the stealth cameo appearances. And anytime they want to do that is fine. Doesn't take me out of the moment at all. In fact, it's kind of fun to wait and see, okay, who is hiding under those masks? And this time it turns out it's Harry Holland and Christine Adams. Wild. So Tom Holland's younger brother, and Christine Adams plays in Black Lightning. So kind of fun to see the two of them, wearing the masks, because you don't really notice that they're 20 years apart in age when they have the masks on. So wild stuff. Anyway, those cameos, they can stick them in anytime they want. All right. Also, I think it was fun to spend time with just Din and Bo on a side quest. I mean, yes, it absolutely was a side quest. There's no doubt about that. But we have to see them interacting for the final moments of this episode to really pay off. We have to see that they're learning to trust each other, that sometimes Mando is explaining something to Bo about how to maybe handle a situation a different way, and likewise Bo is telling Mando, you got to learn, buddy, you got to learn, you got to move on, you got to, find a new playbook sometimes. So anyway, I love seeing them interact. I don't mind it, but yes, it was a side quest, and I know for some people, they didn't enjoy that. But let's talk a little bit about the side quest. I thought it was fun that it had elements of several things. There was some Law and Order, where they find, as far as I was concerned, a matchbook, right? It wasn't a matchbook, but I mean, it's almost like on a dead body where you find the matchbook that tells you what hotel they were staying in. Same thing. They find this clue that leads them to the droid bar. And it had elements of CSI, where they're legit doing an autopsy on the robot, on the droid, rather. Love it. Too funny. And it even had elements, I felt, at least, of Scooby-Doo. Where the guest star in the beginning that you meet that looked so innocent turns out to be unmasked as the bad guy. The only thing missing, literally, the only thing missing was him cursing out, yeah, and I would have gotten away with it too if not for you meddling kids and your dog. I love it. I love it. Scooby-Doo is the best. So yeah, I did not mind this side quest, but I do respect and understand that many fans are getting tired of it. So hopefully in these last two episodes, we really finish strong and move to, some real action and resolving a lot of plot points. So one of the biggest things they had at the end of this episode that I thought was great was the fight for leadership. I mean, we got to see every single Mandalorian tool and weapon that they have. We had some awesome jetpack kicks and flies. In fact, the jetpack tackles were fantastic. Now, this missile launch, what was he thinking? I mean, watch this. Just missed his own people. I mean, Bo ducks. So his own people were probably like, dude, you're not supposed to be killing us. Kill her, but not us. I mean, he was going for blood. You notice Bo never tries to kill him. He literally was going for blood this whole time. I love this move by Bo with the grappling hook, followed by the jetpack to whip him off the top of the ship. Amazing. You got to have flamethrowers, right? I mean, even though it's kind of pointless, it just looks so cool. So you got to do the flamethrower as well as the shield. And boy, does Bo look ticked off right then. She is ready to pounce. And yep, she does. No surprise, but she does end up victorious. Fantastic battle. I thought that was really well choreographed, really well done. But I do have to wonder, was this turn of events a little rushed? If you think about it, ever since the end of season 1, when we saw Moff Gideon holding that darksaber, we've wondered, will we see Bo? And then we finally see Bo. Will she get the darksaber back? And no, she doesn't. Mando ends up with it. But will she eventually get it back? And if so, how? So I thought it was kind of a clever little rule, they came up with there of Mandalorian was defeated by the robot, and then she defeated the robot. I didn't have a problem with that. But to shove this in the last 30 seconds of the episode, I don't know. It just felt a little rushed. Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Do you think that they should have drawn this out a bit more? Do you think, I don't know, did it just feel weird to have it go by so fast? But nonetheless, I did love seeing her hold that darksaber. Can't wait to see where this is all going to end up, if she's going to end up riding the mythosaur, using the darksaber. Who knows where it's going, but can't wait. It was a little weird, though, not to see her doing this. But I think that was intentional. I think they want to hold off, and maybe we'll see her striking this pose from Rebels in the season finale, when she really does have all the Mandalorians at her side. So I kind of liked that they held off. They held off on this. So, hey, there are a lot of plot threads left to resolve. We saw in episode 5 a lot going on with the New Republic. We saw, someone framed the Mandalorians. I do not think, personally, although I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments, I don't think Mandalorians left this Beskar around that we saw in episode 5. I think that was probably Elia Kane or some of Moff Gideon's followers who did it to frame the Mandalorians and to set up a conflict between the New Republic and the Mandalorians. So I think that's what we're really building to in this season finale. I also wonder, do you think this was their way of kind of killing off Cara Dune? Now, first of all, do you think that's what happened? And second of all, do you think they'll actually say it or just imply it and move on? I mean, I'm kind of bummed. I really liked her character. It's a shame that she and Disney had the conflicts. I'm not even going to get into all that. You can Google it if you want to read why it happened, but she's gone and she's not coming back. So you do kind of wonder if that was their way of saying, yeah, she was on that ship. We'll see. But yeah, is the New Republic now going to be coming after the Mandalorians? I mean, they didn't really seem to want to help the Mandalorians. That was clear. So now it looks like the Mandalorians were framed for freeing Moff Gideon. Not good. Not good at all. And by the way, Tim Meadows, that was another cameo that I didn't mind. He wasn't playing Tim Meadows. He was playing his role in the New Republic. But that said, if you didn't know who this was, Google Ladies Man SNL sketch, Tim Meadows, and just sit back and enjoy. You'll see some of the funniest skits that have ever been on SNL. I love Ladies Man. So that was fun to see him. Anyway, good cameo. But yeah, the big question is, is one of the big plot lines that the New Republic and the Mandalorians are going to have a big old showdown in the end. And are we also learning why the New Republic ultimately failed? I thought this quote from an earlier episode was huge, where the rich, the elites, were saying, Empire, Rebels, New Republic, I can't keep track. That is why things like this happen. That's why the New Republic fails and we get a First Order. This is very real world. I know some people are like, oh, stop with all the politics. I don't care about this stuff. No, this is fascinating. I mean, how do you go from the rebels defeating the Empire, forming a new republic, and yet 30 some years later, we're right back where we started? Well, part of it is because that happens in real life. It happens in real life when we don't take the time to establish a better government. I mean, the New Republic, as we're seeing, is just pitiful. It's pitiful. So I find this fascinating, and I think these are history lessons we all should learn. I mean, look at, I don't want to get political at all, but just look at Afghanistan and how that was, the old leadership, the Taliban, were wiped out, or so we thought, right? Nope, now they're really back right where we started. Nothing has changed. Isn't that just similar to what we're seeing with the Empire, the New Republic, and then right back to the First Order? Fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff. All right. We still have these plot lines waiting to know, hey, what's going on with Dr. Pershing and Elia Kane? So is that going to get resolved as Mandalorian ends this season? Will it tie into what we saw in Bad Batch with Dr. Hemlock and Nala Se? It seems like it's all coming together. And of course, will it be worth all the effort to explain this? Somehow Palpatine returned. I would argue yes, because at this point, it is crystal clear that they are doubling down and saying, yes, the sequel trilogy happened. We're not walking away from it. We're marching towards it. And we're going to see, as we get to the movie announcements, we're even going to build upon it further. So hang in there. But yeah, I'm okay with this. It is what it is, right? You either love or you hate the sequel trilogy, but it's there, it happened. And I like the fact that they're explaining how we got from, again, the New Republic and right back into the First Order. Fascinating stuff to me. Fascinating. All right. We still have the plot points of who is the armor? Will we learn who she is by the end of the season? And are those horns on her head tied to Darth Maul? I threw that out as a theory a couple videos ago. I'm sticking by it. I really think we're going to find that she's an old-time follower of Maul and his forces when they took over Mandalore. And so check out an earlier video if you want to know more about that theory. But yeah, I really think that's where this is leading with her. Will we see more cameos from the Rebels? We've already seen Ahsoka. We've seen Zeb. Zeb showed up last episode. That was fantastic. He was incredibly well done. VFX on him was amazing. And then will the finale be a big throwdown with Moff Gideon, maybe the New Republic, as I mentioned earlier, and will we even perhaps see Thrawn? Now, my guess is Moff Gideon, yes. New Republic, yes. Thrawn, no. Thrawn may be in a post-credit scene, maybe a quick tease, but no. I don't think we're going to see Thrawn, especially now because of what we saw in the Ahsoka trailer. So I'm now going to move out of Mandalorian, episode 5 and 6 from season 3, into the Ahsoka trailer. Yeah, they are really telling us the Ahsoka series is going to start bringing us some major Thrawn action. I love it. We don't get to see his face, but they're teasing us. They're really teasing us. And I thought it was so much fun in the Ahsoka trailer that she says, I started hearing whispers about Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire. Yeah, big time name drop. I mean, anyone who's read the novels remembers the Heir to the Empire series. Fantastic. Check it out. And what I think I mentioned this in an earlier video, but these novels are happening right around the same time in the timeline as The Mandalorian and Ahsoka are happening. So this really is a live action adaptation of these. Would be wild to see Han Solo and Princess Leia. I don't think we're going to. Maybe we're going to see some more Luke. But anyway, really cool. Going to be amazing. Can't wait. Can't wait. Also, in the Ahsoka trailer, we saw several of the live-action rebels. We saw Hera. She's looking really cool. We saw Sabine, several scenes with her. She's going to be awesome. Good old Chopper, right? We had to get Chopper. Crazy, man. I don't know what to say. People love or hate Chopper. I liked him. We even get our first live-action look at Ezra. Small picture of Ezra, but yeah, that has got to be Ezra. Mon Mothma is going to be returning. Anytime we get more Mon Mothma, I'm good. Really, really enjoy her character. And Morgan Elsbeth is returning. You might remember her from Mandalorian Season 2. She was the one that Ahsoka was fighting to learn about, where is your master? And then she said, where is Grand Admiral Thrawn? So we're going to see her coming back. I don't really know much about this guy's character. Balin Skull, I think, is a new character they've created. If he's not, and I'm missing something, let me know in the comments. But I'm pretty sure he's a new character, and he is obviously, a Jedi. But I think he's turned against, the good, if you will, and I think he's going to end up being an adversary with Ahsoka. So should be interesting to see his character. So let's talk now about the overall timeline and then how the movie announcements fit into it, because we got 3 very exciting movie announcements. All right, so you remember this is the timeline I've been using, but I'm going to have to condense this a bit to get everything to fit in. So first, I'm going to start shrinking it down a bit. Now, second, you notice I've done these pillars, and I've kind of stuck with these for a while. It's nice to see that at the Star Wars Celebration, they basically stuck with these pillars. However, they collapsed the second and the third one. Because basically, and I see why, this is all really happening in between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. Okay, so I've stacked them together. I'm going to shrink it down even more. We need a lot of room. And then I'm going to add in Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew. Okay, so I don't know the years yet, which is why I didn't put them in, although we could probably guess they're going to be around 13 ABY timeframe. But so we know Ahsoka series is coming out, and we know Skeleton Crew is coming out. Okay, so they're fitting in that pillar. All right? Then, at Star Wars Celebration, they gave us these symbols to represent several different eras of the Star Wars timeline. And in particular, they labeled them Dawn of the Jedi, the Old Republic, the High Republic, Fall of the Jedi, Reign of the Empire, Age of Rebellion, the New Republic, Rise of the First Order, and the New Jedi Order. Very cool. Okay, so let's start filling in a few more things here then. We already know the Acolyte's coming out. We don't know what year it's in, but it's part of the High Republic era. And because the High Republic era starts at 500 BBY, I'm just putting 500 BBY for the start of that era. If anybody has any more clue of when that's coming out, let me know. But I know it's obviously in between the beginning and end of the High Republic era. All right, so the first big movie they announced is very, very early in the timeline, probably somewhere prior to 25,000 BBY, that James Mangold is going to direct a movie during the Dawn of the Jedi period. That should be awesome. I mean, James Mangold obviously did Logan. Everybody has a lot of respect for his work. I think it's going to be fantastic to see what he gives us. And I wouldn't have guessed they would have gone back that early, but I'm stoked. I'm really stoked. The second big movie they announced, the Old Republic, I'm just going to stick in 25,000 BBY because my understanding of the timeline is the Old Republic goes from 25,000 BBY to 501 BBY. So there's nothing so far in this period that's slated. Obviously, there's tons of Legends material. I understand that. Comics, etc. I mean, from a live action / animated on Disney Plus, nothing fits in there yet. All right, so then we got an announcement for a Dave Filoni movie. Finally, right? Finally. So that, and by the way, I had predicted this when I heard that there were movies going to be announced, and when I just saw kind of how they're filling in all this stuff during this Mandalorian era, and I had a few people even comment and go, no, that's never going to happen. I'm so excited that it's happening. I mean, Filoni deserves a movie. That dude has done so much for Star Wars, so much. So I'm guessing because we know this movie exists, therefore, I'm betting that the Ahsoka series only takes us so far into the Heir of the Empire trilogy and live-action adaptation, because we know Skeleton Crew is happening around that same time, and then the movie, I think, is going to be the culmination of all of those. So we'll see Mandalorian appearing, Boba Fett, obviously Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, etc. Should maybe Luke again, should be Grogu, should be insane. I cannot imagine. All right, and then I know there's going to be people who are upset about this final one, and there's others who are going to be really excited about this final one. So one of the directors of the Miss Marvel series is taking over a movie happening after the sequel trilogy and following Rey. And it's going to be 15 years after, so that's why I'm putting 50 ABY. We don't know the exact time, but supposedly that's the time. And I understand there's people that just don't like the Rey character. I don't mind. I enjoyed her. I thought she was fine. I'm interested to see where they go with things, down the line. I mean, Grogu can obviously appear. I don't know whether anybody else from the Filoni era during the New Republic, that New Republic era, I don't know whether any of them will still be around, but certainly we could get Grogu and maybe some other characters. Maybe even Omega. Omega would be pretty old at that point, maybe in her 60s, but she could even appear. So who knows? I have faith in this. Give it a chance. And hopefully this may even make us have a different way of viewing the sequel trilogy. Maybe people have a new respect for it. We'll see. All right, so there you go. I will probably be rearranging this a little bit because I threw it together pretty quickly to get something for this video. But yeah, I'm impressed. This is quite the timeline that Star Wars has laid out for us. So there you go. There is a Discord server. I mention this every time. The Star Wars chatter continues to pick up because there's so much to talk about. So I will leave a pinned comment that has a link to the Discord server if you want to join the conversation. And also, if you don't mind, you can like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, check out more content, and we can all continue to enjoy this amazing, amazing new era for Star Wars.